Hi, welcome back to On Track Tips. You're listening to Get on Track, Stay on Track, helping your small business one expert at a time. And this week we're going to be doing 2 episodes in 1 week. This was totally spontaneous, something we just came up with the other day because I was talking about contests and giveaways. I just got done packaging up a bunch of cups and T-shirts and headphones and mailing them all out. And I called it my friend Heather, who ended up being one of the winners of our. Yep, there she is. Ended up being one of the winners of our T-shirts and our mugs. And we started talking about contests and giveaways and some of the pitfalls and pratfalls and some of the things that you can hope to accomplish and succeed. And come to find out, Heather does a lot of giveaways. So we really got into a great discussion. I said we need to put this onto a hangout so other people can learn what we've, from our failures, really. And then a little bit later, Shawn, he happened to pop in to another discussion on a thread, and he's like, I'm thinking about doing some giveaways, so I got some questions. So I thought, well, let's bring Shawn in. He can ask the questions. Heather and I can kind of answer those questions. So today, really informal here. We're just kind of 3 friends hanging out, planning out, a contest, and you guys get to listen in on the discussion today. So I don't know where you guys really want to start. But I think that it's a great place to start. Shawn, if you have a question you want to just kind of throw out there, and let's get the conversation just going that way. What do you say? Or do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Why don't you take a minute and tell everybody who you are?
My name's Abraham, and I was born in a log cabin. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Heather Kraafter. I'm just a crafty girl trying to make it in this techie world. That's all I'm doing here. So nobody special.
Oh, you're very special. Shawn?
Yeah, Shawn Manaher, book marketing tools, helping authors to market their books, sell more books.
Yeah, and when it comes to marketing, you guys should, anybody that's on this call, go and check out what Shawn does. Kind of look, even if you're not into books and marketing, watch what he does. The guy really is a marketing very good at marketing. I know people don't like to be called experts, gurus, or whatever, but he's just very good at what he does.
That's what I like about what we're doing here, is that we're not saying we're experts on giveaways or we're experts on not doing giveaways. We're just going to chat about what our experiences are. So yeah. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not an expert on giveaways, I'll tell you that.
So what about that? Have you guys had some major failures?
Oh, I can say I'll go first because I know that Jason has an answer, but I'll go first because I've been giving stuff away, any kind of stuff, since January of 2013. I've been doing it. In the very beginning when I started, I had 5 live shows a week. I did them every day, 1 whole hour every day, and then I would ask people to enter all week long, and then on the Monday of the following week, I'd give away the prize every week. For like weeks. It was labor intensive, it was insane, it was wrong. I learned it was wrong. And I learned some pretty cool rules that I've written down. So I've got those. I know this is impromptu, but I did write down my rules because I wanted to be able to share that with anybody who wanted that information. But yeah.
I want to hear them, but let's start with this. First of all, why do a contest? Why would you do a contest?
Exactly. Exactly. I'll tell you my personal experience was I was little. I was a very little. Well, I'm still little as far as business goes, but and my following and all that kind of thing. But I was incredibly little. I had less than 100 likes on my YouTube page, or not. What's it called? Facebook page. Oh, I said it. Sorry. The F word. So I'm on this Facebook page. I have less than, I probably had maybe 30 to 60 people that actually followed the page. And I had 7 subscribers on my YouTube channel when I started. And that's it. I had no other social media. I didn't really know what G+ was at that time, and I had no interest, as you know, in Twitter. And Pinterest, Instagram, any of those, none of it. I wasn't on any of it. So I had no following, basically, and so, of course, my goal was to get a following. Yeah. That was my goal.
My goal, I would say, for my podcast, obviously, it looks like I've got a little bit of a lag here. I wonder what's going on. But my incentive for my podcast show was to get more reviews onto my iTunes, and so that's why I did this 4-week-long contest where I was giving away shirts and cups and then the grand prize of the headset. So that was my why. I wanted to incentivize people. I read in the promo part that somebody had mentioned that all of this kind of distracted from my weekly show. and I want to touch on this. I think that it's really important that when you think about your why, you have to think about the whole overall picture. And I didn't really think, I'm thinking everybody wants to win stuff, right? So let's talk about some of the prizes like that you would win. So Shawn, you and I had a conversation about some of the prizes that you've given away before. And how it's my belief that when you give away a prize, you need to give away a prize that isn't a self-serving prize. Meaning, I had given away hosting, right? We do hosting here at Wiser Sites, and so I thought, here, you get a free year of hosting. That fell like a lead balloon. People just didn't receive that because it felt too promotional or marketing to them. But when they get a coffee cup, boy, they loved it, and I get people, telling me how much they absolutely love this great coffee cup. It's utilitarian. It has other use to it. Maybe it's got a little branding on it. But Shawn, talk about your thoughts.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to not make it as promotional about it, because then people are thinking like, oh, okay, this is just something nice. It's not like, oh, so for in my case in January. There was this Google Plus Hangout New Year's Eve bash or whatever, and people were looking for things to give away. And so I gave away 3 free uses of the dashboard for like 3 months of at Book Marketing Tools. Nobody claimed the prize. I mean, I gave it away, but there was no claiming of the prize, and I think you're right. It might have just been seen as self-serving, and oh, he's just trying to promote Book Marketing Tools, and maybe having prizes that are not specifically tied to the brand. That makes more sense. Is that your guys' approach?
I will pull it back from that, and I will say it has nothing to do with the prize.
No? All right,
no.
Let's hear it. Why?
So here's my thinking. My thinking is, one, if you don't have content, people aren't going to watch. So it doesn't really matter what you give away. You can give away your entire house. People aren't going to care if, well, they're not even going to watch if you don't have some content to give. So I learned throughout that week-long process of doing a show every single day and giving things away that it was about the show. They did not care about the prize. And I learned that if I don't have the content and I don't work on the content and make that something that people are going to come and watch, then it does not make a bit of difference what I give away. Case in point, this month, for the month of September, I've since moved to 1 prize per month. That's where I'm at now. But this is a good case in point. I have yet to announce what the winner is going to receive this month. We have not even discussed what they're actually winning.
Oh,
not even been mentioned.
That's an interesting take.
It wasn't on purpose. It was an accident that it happened. I had something fall through the cracks. I didn't get the prizes in that I wanted to get in, so I wasn't able to photograph them and I wasn't able to post it. But what has happened is this is my highest attended contest yet.
Wow.
And you want to know why?
Why?
Because the contest was about them. It wasn't about a prize and it wasn't about me. It was about them.
And how did you make it to be about them rather than...
Okay, remember I'm a crafty girl, so everything I do is crafty. This may not partake, to what you guys do in business and everything, but if you can adjust it, okay? So
no, Jason does quilts, so...
That's true. That's true. So here's the bottom line. I looked at my community. I have this great community that's very active and a lot of wonderful people working in it, and I said, here, they're all in their own little boxes. And I want to stretch them out of that box. How am I going to do that? And I came up with a contest. This was the deal. You use mixed media. Mixed media is just using more than one type of medium in your art in a way you've never done before. If you've never done this before, this should be easy. If you do this all the time, you're going to have to think a little harder. The people that participated in this contest have stretched their boundaries and for this entire month have done things they've never done before. And I feel like I've created monsters, which is wonderful. But they're posting like mad. I had, over the weekend, 59 new posts in our community from them just trying new stuff over and above the contest itself. So what am I after? I'm after engagement. Am I getting it? Heck yeah.
Yeah, well, see, now there's 2 different kinds of contests there too. The contest that you're talking about, or like we see on Facebook a lot, where you take a selfie of me and my picture in the T-shirt that you just bought. I'm working with a company right now that sells T-shirts. take a selfie and put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, and then that will be your way of voting, and you can win such and such a prize, and creates a contest voting. What I had done was just saying, you win entry into a grand prize giveaway, like you're winning a raffle ticket, essentially. And I don't think that worked as well, personally, because I had a lot of the same people winning the same prizes. I had put into my newsletter. I thought, okay, well, I'll put it into my newsletter. That'll incentivize people to open up my newsletter and look for the secret question. Let me find the secret answer, and then I'll paste that into my show. That'll incentivize. So the prize had to be big enough for them to want to open up the email and come to the show and enter. It was a lot of work for them that I was asking of them. And again, like you said, Heather, it wasn't about them. It was about me. And I think that really showed. It was, here, come to me, do my things, and I'll give you more of my stuff for you so that you can wear my stuff, so that you can take selfies of you and my stuff, which was really great. I mean, I had a couple people do that, and I'm really grateful. But hey, let the rubber meet the road, and let's be honest here. We're out here to help each other grow in business and in marketing. I think I feel in that regard, because it wasn't about them. It was all about me. And one last thing I want to say on that is I had a post that I put up where I was talking about these headsets, and I said, here, will this, did you click through the post because of the headset? They're like, no, I clicked through because it's you.
Exactly.
I don't care about this headset.
Content.
The headset's cool, but I clicked because it's you.
Yeah, that's the content I was talking about.
Yeah, at the same time, there was a contest that you did where you allowed somebody to had an opportunity to get on the film strip with Peg and Guy Kawasaki, and I won that. And the reason why I won that is you made it a big clear, hey, this is what the prize is, and you have to do X, Y, and Z. I was able to do all of those things that you wanted me to do, and I got on because of the hook. Because of the prize.
So for you, it was the prize, Shawn? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I wanted
So basically, if you have Guy Kawasaki and Peg Fitzgerald, then you will win whatever it is. But if that can't be your prize, then it's not about the prize.
well, let's think about it, because that prize was about Shawn too. It gave Shawn an opportunity to go on and ask an expert a question, but specific to his business. It helped him do something for him.
And I actually went to a conference in New York City, drove 4 hours for the opportunity to sit and hear Guy Kawasaki with the hopes of going to at the end of the conference or his speech and talk to him about a business opportunity. I specifically did all that. But when you gave me this opportunity for a contest, I'm like, heck, I don't have to drive anywhere. I just need to show up on Jason's feed and do what he wants me to do, and I was the first one in line. So I think that it has to be the right alignment of things, but for me, it actually did work.
Yeah, and it was interesting, though, how many people that there was a very low it wasn't a very competitive. I was talking with Shawn, not Shawn, Shannon Hernandez, who does on-air radio, and radio, what do they say? They say the 5th caller, the 12th caller is going to win 2 tickets to such and such, right? And the phone starts ringing. Well, I tried that. I tried to do the 3rd caller, the 4th caller, but the problem was I didn't get 4 people answering the question.
I was just going to say there's only 2 people involved.
There's 2 people answering. I was like, oh man, does this deflate me? Hey Heather, let's jump over. We're 15 minutes into the call. You've got some stuff actually prepared, and I want to hear some of your points that you had prepared.
I had an impromptu conversation. I prepared some things. Okay, so the first thing is the rules. I want to just really quickly hit the rules, and we can go through them individually if you want to. So the very first rule is you need to learn the terms of service of wherever you're going to do this contest or whatever, giveaway. Because on certain places, social media networks especially, there are rules. And if you don't follow those rules, you can get yourself into some big trouble. So you don't want to do that. Definitely want to know the TOS.
You mean terms of service within the network, you're saying?
Exactly.
How can I host a contest on this network?
Exactly. What's allowed, what's not allowed.
They change all the time. Okay, go on.
Yes, they do. And that's the reason why I'm not going into any specifics, because by the time you hear this, it might not be valid.
So, but I think
So,
the safe answer on that, though, for people that are listening, is if you host your contest inside of your own environment. So for me,
like your
if I host
website?
mine inside of On Track Tips, then I can share it over to Google Plus as long as or whatever. Then as long as I'm not asking for pluses and likes and things like that.
You
Now,
got it.
go on, Heather.
You got it. So number 2 would be to set goals and budgets. Now those goals are not just for you, they're also for the people that participate in your contest. So there need to be goals for both of you. What do you expect to get out of it? But what do you expect them to get out of it? If you just expect them to not, I hope this doesn't come across as I'm picking on you, it's just a good example. If you expect them to push a big red button and they do it, goal has been met. Right?
Yep.
If you expect them to get something out of it from that big red button, are you achieving that? So you need to also be able to mark those goals off. They need to be measurable.
Mm-hmm.
And your budget.
On that. Okay, go on. Budget.
Okay, and so that means money and time, because these things, as you have already mentioned, take time as well as money. So if you don't set yourself a financial budget, you could really break your bank. And who wants to do that for a contest? And the second thing is your time. Your time is just as valuable. So if you do not have a plan in place and you do not follow that plan, you might end up spending too much time and feel exhausted and have a really bad taste in your mouth for the contest, and you don't want that.
Yeah, so I want to share my experience on that if I can jump in,
please.
because it's really important. I think this is something that I learned, that if nobody takes, and if you take only one thing away from the show, from me, this is what I want you to walk away with. When I went in, I thought I need to find one good big prize, right? And so the first big prize I was going to give away initially was a microphone, and then I realized not everybody wants a microphone, right? Not everybody's a podcaster. I was promoting a podcast show, doing iTunes. I wanted to have that. So my assistant Nick, he ended up saying, well, why not give away headsets? Then that people can listen to the podcast. It's more universal. More people can do it. Okay, great. Budget we're talking about. Okay, so I had set aside about $150 for my big prize, and I was able to land inside that budget. But then I thought we need some other smaller prizes, T-shirts and mugs. T-shirts come out to about $10 a piece, right? And that's if you buy them in lots of 25 or more. Right, so I got 25 T-shirts. Then I had to decide sizes of the T-shirts. So I ended up with a lot of people that won the T-shirts, and everybody wanted extra large, and I didn't have enough extra larges. Now I got larges. Now I can't make everybody happy. So now everybody's all upset because they didn't get the right size T-shirt. So now what am I supposed to do, right? So T-shirts, I'm really would be careful on how you do T-shirts if you're only going to be doing 25 or so. Coffee cups were great. Coffee cups cost me about $7 a cup. And I was able to buy them in bulk. I got like 72 of them, and I think the total bill on that was just a little bit under $200 or so. But anyway, they cost about $7 a piece. But then I didn't think about the fact that they cost $7 to $9 a piece to ship.
I know. I was just going to say that
smokes.
as a part of the budgeting, you have to recognize, and that's domestic, right?
And now let's talk about that. So that was another part of the service, is I had to tell people, I told people in the contest, this is only for the lower 48, and unfortunately there were people on that watch my show regularly. I have a huge international audience that I wasn't even aware of until I find out. We got people in Spain and UK and Australia, and they're like, I won, yay, I won, and I'm like, uh-oh. I can't ship this over there. That's going to cost me an arm and a leg to ship that over there. So I had to tell them, I can't give you your prize, which was a real failure. So you need to figure out the logistics. If you're going to be mailing physical items, you need to set that up right from the get-go. Where are you shipping to? What are the rules on that? A big oversight on my part. And then the last thing on budget was, anybody that follows me, they know that I rely heavily on my team. Right? And so I've got one of my assistants, her job was to follow and say who won a prize, keep a list of them, go and collect their addresses from them. Now that was quite painstaking. Like, how do we communicate with them? Do I communicate them directly through email? Do I hit them up through G+? And she spent hours. So now I got that time in my budget of her, and then I have another office assistant here that I had to pay her by the hour to package these things up and put them into boxes and print off the labels and mail them out. So these cups ended up costing me literally almost $26, $27 a piece per cup to mail them out. So, yeah, Shawn, jaw dropper.
So,
I was
Yeah,
like,
so what's
it
the
is.
oh my
ROI?
goodness.
Did you
Yeah,
get
so
an
you
ROI
can't
on
go
it?
there yet, Shawn. You can't go there yet. Hold on.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
go there yet.
All right, go back, Heather.
Okay, again, set those goals. That has to come first, and then set the budget. Because if you don't have the budget, like you said, you're going to go out of your mind. So the next number three, the most important rule I think on this list, it should be one, but if you don't know the toss, then you're in trouble. But number three is have a process set up, which we've already touched on just a little bit. But if you don't have a process in place, there are multiple things you need to do. One, to gather the entries. How are you going to do it? There are services. I don't know if you know this, but there are services available that you can have where it will collect all that data for you. And it's a part of you can put a button on your website, and that's how they enter the contest, and all that information comes to you. There's multiple ways to do that. Choose a winner. There's also ways to do that electronically, but you've got to have a plan of how you're going to choose the winner. How are you going to announce the winner or winners? How are you going to announce them? And that's work in itself. Follow through with the prizes, as well as all the stuff that you've mentioned with being able to mail them all out, being able to ship them, having the address and everything. All of that is a part of the follow through. And here's the best part, and this is the one that everybody misses. Follow up. Because, okay, they've won a prize, now what? I mean, now what? What do you want after this? Do you just want them to, hopefully they'll post a picture of them with their cup?
What does that total time then look like when you're tallying up all that process? Because you've done this a number of times, and you're probably 5 times the authority on this than what I would ever be on it. But what's the total time?
At the moment, this is what I know for a fact. It has taken me too much time, which is why I came up with the rules and which is why I said about the process. This is what I know for a fact. If you don't have these rules done first, then you're going to hate yourself for doing a contest. And that shouldn't be the way it is. You should, at the end of the contest, feel like, this is awesome. I just built a relationship with a new person or a new bunch of people who now have the ability to be my brand ambassadors. That's how you should feel when it's done. I've not felt that way multiple times.
I want to go back to that follow-up piece. So, like when I shipped out the prizes, I thought in my mind, Shawn, I want to continue this marketing process. So I thought about maybe putting a QR code that way they could take a picture of, and it'll take them back to the page. I thought about branding it with a my URL, or announcing the next big event, or having some other call to action. But then I realized, what? If that was me, I would be like, enough already. Mm-hmm. Just give me the prize. Mm-hmm. And so
you want them to feel good, right? You want them to go, oh my gosh, look at this, and now they want to scream it to the mountaintop, not you told them to.
Right. So I did at the bottom of it, very kind of, I subtle, and I hinted. I put 3 hashtags at the bottom of my letter. Yeah, there you go. Let's pull that up. I put 3 hashtags at the bottom of my letter: selfie, swag, on-track tips. Just kind of as a hint. Like, you might want to do these things, but I didn't say in there, hey, I'd love it if you, but come on, of course I'd love it if people would start snapping photos. I mean, how cool would that be? Which is why I waited before I distributed any prizes on the 4 weeks, because I had this vision, like, how cool this is going to be. I'm going to send out, 30 cups and 20 shirts, and I'm going to get this headset, and everybody's going to be snapping selfies and sharing on Instagram, and it's going to be this great marketing rage for on-track tips. I had 2 people. 2 people.
Oh, Jason. Okay, so what did I say? The goals were for you and for them, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem too, I think, and I fell into this trap for a whole year. I did this all last year. I kid you not. Why aren't these people doing something with this? I give them all this stuff. What is their problem?
Right.
This is all me-centered, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
That is a major
Speaking
problem.
of me-centered, I have a question. What about doing a contest within like social posts? Like, I recently did a contest where if somebody engages with me or responds to this post, then they could get a free use of our reading deals tool. Is that something that's allowed?
How did that go?
Really well. We had over 100 people engage, and we picked 3 winners, and they won.
And then the follow-through?
The follow-through, I didn't have your checklist, so I didn't know what to do.
But I mean,
No,
they've engaged with you after the fact. You've engaged with them after the fact.
yeah,
Okay.
I think.
Then you
Uh,
accidentally did the follow through, and that's just as good.
yeah. So my question, I guess, from terms of service, is that okay?
Oh, you better
And Google
go read
Plus.
it. I'm not going to tell you because
Okay.
I'm not a terms of service expert, but you need to go to
Yeah.
that social network and you need to read
Yeah.
it at
Okay.
that time.
Cool. Sorry, that's self-serving, but I did want to ask about that.
Well, no, but here's the thing about being self-serving with these contests. Ultimately, like I said in the beginning, I wanted to grow. I wanted more than 7 subscribers on my YouTube channel, so I desperately did lots of different things. I even did something in October of that year where I was getting up to 200 subscribers. I was all excited because I'm going to be at 200, and I'm not kidding. It's like a big deal, right? It's silly, but it's a big deal. So I did this huge waste of time, but it was fun, and I put up like a jar of what were they? Candy corn. A jar of candy corn. Guess how many candy corn are in the jar? As a celebration. Okay, so it has nothing to do with arts and crafts. It has nothing to do with YouTube. It had nothing to do with Facebook at the time. I just played around with it, and then I did a quick little video counting them out really fast in speed up motion, and then I said whoever guesses the closest would win, right? And I announced it on that video of the speed up thing. My aunt ended up winning.
Nice. That's nice.
Which was great. I got to deliver her prize to her. That's nice, but still, that was not my goal, obviously, to have my aunt watch the video and have my aunt guess the thing. But I did have a lot of activity on it, and I realized through that contest, it was about me. And that was a mistake. It was about me.
So I want to jump in here real quickly, and I want to say thanks to everybody that showed up for today's show. It's totally impromptu. It was not marketed, so we know that the people that showed up today and are commenting and are being a part of this discussion, that really means a lot to us because we know that you're here on purpose, either to support us individually or to find out some real information. So we hope that you're finding some information. Anybody that watches On Track Tips, you know that we only go a half an hour, or book marketing tools, half an hour. That's the golden number, and unfortunately, we're at that half an hour mark. But because this is a rare midweek kind of thing, and it falls outside of the normal guidelines. If you guys want to stick around and hang out, welcome to, but I'm not done with this conversation yet. I still want to learn a little bit more from what Heather has to say, and so before, I want to be able to acknowledge people. If you do have to get going, I want to say, thanks to Sunny Cadwaller, who says a simple thank you with a prize goes a long way, especially if it's a handwritten note. So handwritten notes, do those handwritten notes. Cheryl Deuce, I like this. Cheryl said, it was the hashtag that encouraged me, and I use them, and I like the real signature on the note as well. Cheryl was one of the 2 people that did do a post, and Cheryl, you are just absolutely beautiful. The lady in red, you looked great. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cheryl. And Cheryl and I had some really interesting dialogue about, I think Cheryl was in that conversation with me about, did the headset incentivize you to come to this poster, to take this action? And she said, no, it's you, Jason. You're my friend. It wasn't the headset, it was you. So maybe, Cheryl, you can pipe in on following up with that conversation. Debbie Davis is letting us know that it's great question from Shawn about time and investment that's required. Because you know what, time is money. So big hello to Debbie Davis, who we know is and also says that there's lots of things that we need to think about before you launch a contest. So is somebody putting together a checklist here? Well, I'm sure that Heather will put one together that'll be available on one of our websites, and we don't know whose yet, but it'll be available somewhere. And I'm sure if Heather does it, it'll have lots of glue and glitter and cute little things.
Oh, it'll be pretty.
Show up nicely.
That, yeah.
It'll be pretty. Yeah. So, and then Cheryl saying rules, yuck, and lastly, Carmen Mandich, who I love Carmen. She's overseas. Unfortunately, she won a couple prizes, and we weren't able to accommodate Carmen. And she has been so sweet about this and has said, look, we continue to watch because of your content, period. Carmen, this blesses me. This makes me feel great. Thank you so much, Carmen. And we're going to do everything we can to try to get you some on-track tip swag or something. I don't know what. You tell me how we can. We'll meet separately, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of talk a little bit. So,
Can I jump in?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so my question, and this goes back to the content and then way back to what Heather said, it's actually you have to have great content to get this all kicked off. Why would anybody want to do a free contest then? If it's all about the content, and then the contest is kind of like just an aside, or what's the benefit then of doing the contest?
Exactly, and that goes back to the goals. So what are your goals? If your goals are for you personally, so that you get that bling factor from everybody wearing your stuff and promoting you out the wazoo, then of course you're going to do it just that way, and you're going to say, here's my stuff, thank you so much, here's how you promote me now.
Right.
That's what, I mean, honestly, that's the way to do it.
And
but,
do you think every business should at least think about doing contests, or is it just for a specific, yeah?
I would not recommend anybody do a contest unless they had a purpose to do it. Honestly, I wouldn't. I do them every month. I do them every month. But when I started this, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to offer something to get people crafting, because that is my goal in life, is to get you crafting. You might not be a creative person, so you think. I want to prove you wrong. So that's my goal. I want to put crafty things in your hands. How am I going to do that? I run a contest every month.
What else do you have on your list there, Heather?
I have 2 more things. Number 4, connect with the audience outside of the contest. Now again, all of these are very important, so they all should be number 1. It should be number 1, number 1, number 1. But honestly, if you don't connect with them outside of the contest, then it's pointless. It really is pointless, because all you're saying is, it's about me, it's about the contest, it's about me, it's about the contest.
I love what you said early on in this discussion, and if anybody's tuning in later now, Heather was talking about how one of her most successful contests was where it was about them. It was about building a community. You know, you create something and share your creation with us, and I mean, what that gives you just this wonderful sense of like ownership and community and participation, and so I mean. I don't know if you have number 5 or the next thing on your list is ROI, but at some point we need to get to that point, because that's really a big point to talk about, going back to Shawn's question. But I would say that, you know, that certainly is one of those unmeasurable ROIs, is when you get somebody that feels a part of a community because they've produced something, they've shared it, they've been embraced, and they may or may not have won the actual final prize, but it was the process of being a part of that community that really is rewarding for that person participating, and then is rewarding for the community as a whole, and then of course ultimately for the brand hosting this, or you know, at the helm.
And that's last. I like how you put that, because that part of it was last. And here's the thing that's accidentally taken place. I have accidentally, without ever planning, it was not a part of the goals or anything, a very large group of bloggers, and by large group I mean there's more than a handful, okay? Because to me, I have a very small community, I have a very small following, but they are valuable to me. So it's not about numbers, but these bloggers, some of them have not even blogged until this whole thing took place. Like in the last couple of months, they just started blogging. They are going out and promoting the crafters community in their voice and in their way, and they're talking about my website and my show and what I do, and I never once asked them to do that. And without getting emotional, because this really does make me emotional, because I did not expect this. I did not ask for it, and I did not, it wasn't written on my goals. It was not. They go and they talk about it because they love it and they have fun there. It has nothing to do with the prizes. The prize ends up being very, very minimal a part of that conversation. Some of them haven't even won prizes. They're just promoting because they love what's going on with us as a community, with us as a business, with us as a group. It's because, again, it goes back to the content. It goes back to the content. We have something that they want to watch. We have something that they want to be a part of, and we connect with them.
And I think what you just did there is the dream of every entrepreneur, small business owner, is you have ambassadors. You have ambassadors that are going out without you even having to say a thing, and you're doing what very few companies ever get to.
Okay, so let me say this, because I had this conversation with Debbie Davis probably 5 to 6 months ago. I wanted to write up how to be a brand ambassador. This was something I was going to write. I was going to do it like a blog series on how to be a brand ambassador, because I feel like I do a good job of that. But how do I teach others to be doing the same thing? And I have not written it. I have the outline. I have several parts of the posts that are ready. I even have some images. I have not completely written it, and I've not posted it, and there's a reason. It's self-serving.
Wow.
And I will admit that. I will admit that to you guys. I'll admit that to anybody who's still watching. I refuse to do it because it's self-serving.
Could you do it for me? And like write it for Shawn, because in my business I want to take these ideas that I have, and I don't want it to just be on the side and on the shelf that, oh yeah, Shawn has a company. I want people to really get around it, and if it's self-serving for you, realize it's not self-serving for others, that if you could share your experience, that would really help me.
I don't know how valuable it'd be, but I'll try. I'll try. Maybe we need to get together off air, Shawn.
Sure.
This has me thinking. This, you know, look. How often do we see posts come through our stream that say, "Hey, check it out"? That start with "check this out," right? We don't click that. Nobody clicks that, right? Why? Why check this out? So let's kind of think. I don't, just something in my head just sparked just now when you were talking, Heather, about this whole self-serving thing and how to. Why would somebody check this out? Well, it has to be of value to them. It has to be interesting to them, which brings us full circle back to what you're saying. You know, if we want to teach somebody to be a brand ambassador, well, they're not going to be a brand ambassador the way that we want. They're not going to, hey, check this out. Here's how you be a brand ambassador. They're going to be a brand ambassador because they're genuinely and sincerely interested in what. What's happening. There's some value in it for them. They feel an association, a connectedness.
Like Carmen said about you and your show. Carmen said it. I'm still going to watch you, period.
Oh, exactly.
And that is what you're after, right? I mean, that ultimately is the goal, even if you never actually wrote it down.
So maybe contests, this is interesting too. One of the other goals of my contest was I wanted to reach beyond my initial community. I wanted to go farther. I wanted to try to expand my audience, which is a great challenge here at Google Plus, to get more and more people to come to our weekly HOA shows. And so I thought, maybe I can reach out into Twitter and Pinterest and Facebook and try to incentivize some people that might be like, but nobody really came over because the headphones, the T-shirt with somebody else's branding and a coffee cup, it was just like, well, who is this guy and why would I want their products and what's the big deal? So there was nothing really to get them to come over from there to here. So it's something I want to continue to think about.
Okay, so my thought on what you just said is they hadn't seen your content, so they can't fall in love with you to want the cup and the T-shirt.
Right.
And so if they haven't seen your content, then it doesn't really matter what you're giving away because they have no reason to watch to get it.
Right. Yeah.
If that's coming out the way I think about it.
Yeah, but if you could give them something that they really want, which is the value that we're talking about with content, then you could get them into that. Just letting them know, here's your how-to on whatever podcasting and whatnot.
And here's another thing that's really important that we haven't touched on yet. Let's talk about incentivizing people that are not really going to be your potential buyers. So what I'm learning out of this whole conversation is let my prizes be a way of rewarding the people that are a part of the brand and a way of saying thank you. And let's have a little fun saying thank you to our people. So what I'm saying by this is when we incentivize, there was a lot of people that came in. I saw some really big spikes in my subscriptions. Not really big. I saw some pretty big spikes in my subscriptions, right? Because people wanted to go and find out the secret question. I also, at the end of the show, had the biggest unsubscribe I've ever had. A lot of people came in for the prizes and left. They didn't care about the product. They didn't get connected to the brand. They watched maybe a show or two, but even when they were watching the show, I somehow imagine, and I have no way to prove this, but I imagine that they're listening because they're waiting, like with their hand on the phone, waiting to hear that and the fifth caller. And because they're so intense on listening to that fifth caller plea, that they're not actually listening to the content that's wrapped around that giveaway, so they have no opportunity to fall in love with the brand because all they're there for is that free headset. They came in, they left. These are not your real clients and customers. These are not the people you want to incentivize. So find another way, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what the other way to incentivize new faces, new people to come over to your brand. I will say that the iTunes reviews turned out to be a fantastic success. I made it into new and noteworthy. I made it as high as 15 on the page for one day, so I was very pleased with that. I'm getting the downloads that I want. I'm getting subscriptions, so in that sense, it was good. But I would have liked to have a lot more connectedness through my newsletter and through people saying, hey, thank you. So now we're over to ROI. Let's talk a little bit about ROI. Heather?
Yeah. It goes back to that plan. If you don't have the process set up so that you can follow through and you can follow up, then you will not have much ROI, because your return on investment comes from the investment you're willing to put into it. Now, you can spend a lot of money and you can ship a lot of products out and you can do all that kind of thing, and you've invested a whole heck of a lot in your mind, but you've not invested in the people that you're trying to reach. So if you don't invest in those people, it doesn't really matter how much money you threw at it or how many times your VA did whatever. None of that's going to matter. What matters is your investment in the people, period. So if you don't stop and look at the audience and connect with them outside of the contest, connect with them outside of whatever it is that you're promoting today, you're not going to get a return on that investment because you haven't invested that.
And at the end of the day, how are you measuring your return on investment specific to your contest?
Specific to me,
yeah.
I lay in bed and read the emails and all of the messages and the blog posts. Every Monday I read the blog posts that my community members are putting out there, and I see them without any kind of nudging or push or anything. They're talking about it and they're spreading the word, and that to me is return on my investment.
Gotcha.
And when orders come in, when I get a message that says, I realized today that you actually sell stuff, so I went and looked, or I get donations on my website. Thank you so much for the great prize. Here's the money to pay for the shipping, because I know this cost you money. That kind of stuff, that is huge to me. That tells me they like me and they like what I'm doing. And I can't put a price tag on that, I guess. So.
I want to pull up this comment from Andrew Hatchett, who said that what he likes about Heather's prizes is that they don't even carry the Kraaft Shaak brand, which tells me that he's not there. He's there for you. He's there for what you have to offer, and that the prizes are kind of just a fun little side note.
Well, so. And like I said, we have not even mentioned, and I'm giving it away on Monday, by the way. This month's prize package I'm giving away on Monday. Have not even shown a picture of what it is. I've never held it up to the camera to say this is what you're going to get. So good luck to the winner.
I will say on ROI, one other thing, and sorry to cut you off here, Shawn. You're next. You got to put your hand on the Jeopardy buzzer. The big red button. You just push that. Make it.
A big red button.
Bad, lame, self-serving. Okay, ROI. I will say, though, that I have 2 contracts in the works now as a result of this contest, because when I called them and started talking to them about their address and their phone number, 2 people, I got into a conversation about, now what exactly do you do? Which, of course, drives me nuts that I've done 40 shows and people still don't have any idea what I do. But I'm grateful that they had that question. What exactly do you do? And we took the conversation, and they, you know what? I need that. I need those services. So we've taken that conversation. We haven't signed the deal yet, but it has caused me to go a little bit further. So there is that little piece of ROI. It does open the door to help me talk a little bit more intimately with that person. But these were people that have been a part of On Track Tips for a long time now. So.
Go ahead, Shawn, because I know you had something.
My question was going to be about, are you intentionally pulling back on your contest because whether it's the work or the effectiveness of it is after a certain point, do contests just become old and you have to switch it up, or what's your take on that stuff?
Oh yeah, I can answer that. Okay, so I told you how I started, giving away every week, doing a show every week. You can tell that got old. I don't have to tell you that. That got old real fast. I couldn't keep up. So I backed off to a couple of shows a week. I backed off to a prize once every couple of weeks. that still wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't making me feel good about what I was putting into it and about what they were getting out of it. Excuse me. So I evaluated in December. Now I went from January until December, middle of December, doing this stuff and just trying, continually trying. And in December, I took that time off, all of December, the rest of December and all of January, I took that time off, and I reevaluated everything that I had given away, how much money it cost me, how much time I invested, and what were the benefits. A great deal of those people who had won those prizes were no longer watching my show or participating in anything I was doing. A great deal of the people who had won multiple times, so it was the same, like Jason said, I wasn't getting a couple of people to be able to do the third caller or fourth caller. So it was kind of a mess, and I thought, what's the process and why am I not getting anything out of this, and why do I feel so icky after it's all done? Because feeling icky is not a part of my plan. So I reevaluated, and I decided this is what I'm going to do. I set a plan. Now, I will tell you, I met Debbie Davis about that time, and she started working with me, so that makes a huge difference. Have somebody in your corner who is good at strategy, who has a plan in place or will help you make a plan, because if you don't have something like that, if you're not a natural strategist and you don't have a natural plan-making skills, you need to hire someone to do that because it's tremendous. So what I did was I sat down, I had a plan, and I set goals, and I set a budget, and I remain within that budget. And throughout the process of this year, because it started in February, I have changed a lot of things. So that brings me to number 5. The rule number 5 is to be flexible. Be flexible enough to make changes, to make adjustments, and to keep at it. Keep at it. Because all of this that we're talking about takes time. It doesn't just take your own personal time and investment, but it also takes time for you to see the results. Because if you're expecting that the person to get the box of prize is going to instantly grab their phone and take a selfie, and is going to instantly upload that selfie to wherever they're going to do it and hashtag it the right way, even if they followed every instruction you didn't give, then it's over. And if every single one of them did it, you would have this huge blast that day, and that's it. Do you think that that's even what you wanted, even if it was to happen that way? Is that what you wanted? Not what I would want. I would want them to continue to come back. I would want them to continue to talk about it. I would want them to continue to share it out with the world. Not necessarily that, but anything that I do from that day forward, because they believe in my content. So what I'm saying is, it may be 6 months from now before you finally get what you really wanted out of this, and that is a consistent following of new people. It may take that long. It may take 2 years. I don't know the formula. I don't even know that there is one. What I do know is that if you are not willing to invest for the long haul, then I don't know why you're even here.
And here Sunny is going to echo exactly what you said. What you do so well, Heather Kraafter, is that you're community focused, and every single thing you do is always brings you back to the community, and that's your ROI. And I think that's really the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from today's show is it's all about community. And when we try to make it too much about ourselves, Timothy Wilson again says this as echoing the same idea. Consumers and views, they want solid products and service and prizes. They're fun, but the important thing is the value for time for the dollar. And I think that value can easily be translated to, again, community, right? And what am I going to learn from the show? What is going to be my takeaway?
Yeah, I was just going to say community looks different to each and every business. So you have to, for me, there is a Google Plus community, but it actually goes beyond that with my website and everything else. But yeah, it's going to look different to each one of us, and we need to decide first of all what that community is. Is it already in place? And even if it's 2 people, that community needs to be nurtured and cared for.
Well, it's like Kevin Kelly's famous article. I love to refer to it. 1,000 true fans. What does that mean? If you have 1,000 true fans, that's all you need in business. And there's been many other articles that have spun off of this. If if you haven't read that yet, go and find Kevin Kelly article 1000 Truth Fans. I think it was written in 2008. That's how timeless this article is. Let's wrap this thing up, bring it to the station. We've got a few more minutes. We went an hour, and I am way out of my comfort zone with unscripted and hours, but we did a fantastic job, guys. I think that there are so many people. Carmen Mandrich, she's telling us, hey, I just enjoyed the show so much, you guys. It was so great. It was spontaneous. I love it. Don Sturgill's telling us that there is just a zillion great tips here, and saying thanks to all of us, Don Sturgill, and yeah, that's pretty much it from the audience that I have coming up on Comment Tracker right now. Closing thoughts out the door about contests, prizes, giveaways. Oh my!
So I'll let Heather go second.
I was just going to say, I don't want to go first, Shawn.
Yeah, so what I'll say is thank you, guys, for entertaining my questions about this contest stuff and what we should be doing. I've done some here and there, but not nearly to the level that you guys have. So I appreciate that and giving me the opportunity to answer the questions. I truly would love to hear about this brand ambassador framework and just the mindset that you have to building that, because I think that for me, again, it's self-serving, but I think it would be really helpful in what I'm trying to do. So thank you, Heather, and thanks, Jason.
Absolutely. Well, you can. I'm willing to waive the rights to this, and you and RJ can go ahead and write the blog post and do all the work on this to get this thing up for us. That would be great. Yeah, I kind of pigeonholed you there.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll volunteer.
You want my notes, Shawn? You want my notes?
I'll give you this show that you can wear over at Book Marketing Tools. It's your prize for showing up today, and all you have to do is just write one simple blog post about it and let us know, mentioning link backs, of course, to both of our sites. That would be craftshack.com and ontracktips.com.
Yes, and here's the deal. When I said, hey, we're going to write the book on this, right, I actually thought of this concept of doing very practical how-tos, and you utilize the Hangout on Air as the base and just write a guide on it. From what we said and all the words and all the ins and outs, we've created a mini book, a guide, and I think it would be cool to see something like that come out of this. I'd be willing to figure that out.
Well, RJ doesn't do anything else except sit around, so give him that time. Let him give him something to do.
Nice to call out RJ, who's not even here. That's nice.
Yeah. All right, Heather, what do you have for closing thoughts on the way out the door?
Well, my closing thoughts are, I know I said I would never recommend to anybody do contests if that's what you're thinking about getting out of it. I recommend you do contests because you want to build your audience for your audience, not for yourself. That's what I would say.
And I love Heather's 5 points. I would just, what my big takeaways on those, if I'm going to sum them up in a last thought, I don't have a quotable per se, but know why it is that you're doing your contest, have your budget, and understand the scope of what you're getting into. Be prepared. Don't be spontaneous on a contest. Be very clear within your organization, within yourself, what it is you're doing and what are your goals. And I absolutely love this idea that it's about the community. It's for rewarding the people that are really already a part of the brand. More so than trying to attract new people. I think at least at the scale at which the small business owners that we're talking to, I think Nike and Adidas, they of course get away with, Red Bull, they can get away with giving away free. But for my brand, I think that it's best.
You know what? I want to go back one thing because I know that we're at the end. I know you're done, but it's impromptu, right? So I can interrupt that.
Absolutely.
But I did actually take a note of something this morning because of this, and you just brought it out. Okay, so Joanne Fabrics, which is my niche, right? That's where I would obviously be looking. They just at the 22-hour mark of posting this is where they were at. So they have 1,157,064 likes on their Facebook page. Okay, sounds great, right? They did a contest, which was just a photo with a link, and if you post a hashtag telling us about a sewing project, then you'll be entered to win $1,000. It doesn't even say to their store. It just says $1,000, okay? You could win $1,000 if you do this. The results at the 22-hour mark of this thing were 1,000 liked button has been pushed. 59 shares, 22 comments, and that includes the comments from the store itself.
Wow.
So if you have
That's
over
nothing.
a million followers, in 22 hours, this is what you can expect your contest to look like.
Wow. There's some numbers to step out the door with. But I think
So
that you,
those were my parting thoughts.
yeah. Hey, this has been impromptu. Of course, we're hanging out here at Get on Track, Stay on Track channel, but we're certainly it's not all about it's not our brand that's hosting this. It's really we've got Kraaft Shaak hanging out over here. Heather giving us a wave, goodbye. Oh, thank you, dear. And then Shawn coming on, saying goodbye with book marketing tools. We're not experts, we're not gurus. We're just three friends that are trying to figure out this prizes and contests. And I hope you learned a little bit of something. We'll see you next time around. Bye for now.